George Floyd's now infamous words, "I can't breathe," are becoming synonymous with alleged police brutality and also a lack of accountability. And as 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears reports, there's another case where those words preceded a man's death in police custody right here in Las Vegas.
It took less than 1 hour for the scene you're watching to turn deadly for 50-year-old Byron Lee Williams on the early morning of September 5th, 2019.
As officers were placing Williams in handcuffs, he, like the officers who chased him, appeared winded from running a good distance and jumping the walls.
Okay, breathe.
While officers were restraining and handcuffing Williams, he stated he was unable to breathe.
Breathe.
Williams told police he couldn't breathe a total of 17 times. By the time medical help arrived, he was unresponsive.
Williams was pronounced deceased at Valley Hospital at approximately 6:44 a.m.
That's just 56 minutes after police officers Benjamin Vasquez and Patrick Campbell saw Williams riding a bike without lights near Martin Luther King Boulevard and West Bonanza Road. As they gave chase, he dumped the bike and ran away, but they caught up with him in a nearby apartment complex.
It's going to be negative use of force. The subject complied towards the end of the foot pursuit and got down on the ground.
About 7 or 8 officers responded to the scene after the chase.
Stand up. Stand up. They got incarcerated. Stand up.
You guys want medical?
But their body cameras were turned off after Williams was dragged to the patrol car.
But we will evaluate the totality of the incident to determine if it was appropriate, if they turned them off appropriately, or if they were turned off prematurely. But we still have to complete that as part of our investigation.
To this day, reports from Metro's Force Investigation Team and Office of Internal Oversight are still pending. Williams had meth and hydrocodone on him at the time of his arrest. The Clark County coroner says Williams died from methamphetamine intoxication with other significant conditions, including heart and lung disease and prone restraint. Prone restraint can cause death if a person can't get enough air due to the positioning of his body. The U.S. Department of Justice says pre-existing risk factors like intoxication or other medical conditions can make prone restraint even more dangerous, particularly when it includes behind-the-back handcuffing while a person is lying face down. The department advises police to get a suspect off his stomach as soon as he's handcuffed and not to sit on his back. That did not happen in the case of Byron Williams. But the harm happened in this case and many others across the country.
That what should be routine or minor police encounters could end tragically.
Governor Steve Sisolak delivered this message amid ongoing protests demanding change.
The protests over the past few days were ignited by the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. But the anger and grief goes beyond the protests that grew out of a longer history of these incidents.
Now to a demonstration for justice today after a local man died in Metro's custody.
Williams' family and community members took to the streets September 14th, demanding police accountability and holding signs similar to those we've seen this week in the wake of George Floyd's death.
George Floyd died because the officers who were arresting him did not listen to his cries that he could not breathe.
Breathe. Okay, breathe.
The officer in Williams' case continued kneeling on his back despite his cries of distress.
You got pressure on your butt, that's all.
Williams was an ex-felon with a lengthy rap sheet in both California and Nevada, including drug trafficking, grand theft auto, torture, robbery, sexual assault, and more. He was unarmed the day he died, but was wanted by police for failing to check in and failing to charge his ankle bracelet while on electronic monitoring for a previous crime. Here's what his family told us at the time.
Because Byron Lee Williams did have people who cared about him.
He was loved, and he was a changed man. He was changed.
On March 3rd, District Attorney Steve Wolfson wrote this letter. He said that his office determined that criminal prosecution of the officers involved in Williams' death was not appropriate, but he did call for a public fact-finding review. According to Metro, that review has been on hold due to COVID-19 restrictions. Williams' family is pursuing federal civil rights and wrongful death lawsuits. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigate.